Hello. Today I'm here to talk about the Trecena of Tijax. I'm standing here in my favourite place at my favourite time of day to talk about this Trecena coming up on this day of Oshlahu Noach, on this day of ancestral knowledge, and I give thanks for the ancestral knowledge which come to me, which I tap into and interpret in my way. My interpretation of how I think that we could best use the energy of the Trecena to come. So, what is the energy of the Trecena of Tijax about? Well, perhaps we could start by thinking about the way that Tijax works itself. It could be seen as the energy of healing. It could be seen as the energy of purification. Now, I am very aware of course, the era that is about to be upon us in the Western world. The purification doesn't necessarily match in with what many people will be experiencing and, enjoying over the next 13 days. Maybe actually it's kind of like the opposite of purification, let's say. But there is this opportunity to see through to the beauty of things, to see through to the highest potential of things. And this is also what I see with regards to Tijax, because it's about cutting through to the divine nature of something. For me, Tijax can be seen very much as this razor of discernment. And it's that which we use to see through to the beauty within something. Whether it might be a jeweler seeing the beauty that is contained within the raw stone, being able to chip away at exactly the right places in order to bring out the greatest beauty of that stone. Now, we could see many things in our lives as that. I often think of Tijax as being rather like an editor who's cutting away the superfluous in order to cut through to the highest purpose. And so what we see is that this could be 13 days of doing exactly that, of cutting away that which is causing things to go out of balance, therefore that brings healing. We could see it as 13 days of cutting through to the truth of matters, cutting through to the highest possibilities. So these are opportunities for these 13 days. And we're going to begin the Trecena, of course, on the day 1 Tijax. And we could see the 1, of course, as birthing and beginnings. We could also see the 1 as potential. What potential could we cut through to? What potential do each and every one of us have within us that is being masked by layers of what might need to be removed, what might need to be taken away, what might need to be purified in order to bring true healing, in order to bring the best out of things? And maybe this is also something that we could look to in the general world around us. How can we cut through to the brightest, the best, the highest possibility of what we face on an everyday basis? So 1 Tijax may show us that possibility. 1 Tijax may show us the potential that is there if we want to do the work to cut away. Now, that cutting away can also be seen rather like surgery, and we know that surgery is not always pain-free, let's say. Surgery hurts sometimes, but we know that it's necessary in order for the healing to take place. And so maybe it's also seeing through that hurt in order for the potential to be realized. And so that's not to say that it's going to be 13 tough days, as it were. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Sometimes it all depends on the way that we approach it as to whether it's going to be tough or not. But it's really being able to see through to that pure intent, really being able to see through to that highest purpose and the healing that can come once the surgery has been done. And so hopefully this is kind of like that potential that we can see on the day 1 Tijax. From 1 Tijax we then move into 2 Kawok. Now, well, it's supposed to be dry season right now. We're getting quite late into December. Well, I suppose we're kind of midway through December, but we would expect things to be dry and we would expect clear skies by now. As you can see, there's a bit of cloud around, and we actually had a little rain earlier on, just very light. But there's this contrast that comes, and I see this with the day 2 Kawok, because Kawok, the storm, the rain, but also the soothing that comes after the healing. It's the rebirth. I see Tijax and Kawok working together in many ways. And so Tijax cuts, Kawok heals. It's like the surgery and then the aftercare. And with 2 Kawok, it might be looking at the different ways that we can approach this. We can see things in high contrast as to what is going to help us to deal with the surgery, to work through the aftercare, and what might not. What needs to be washed away and what needs to be touched gently, if you see what I mean. Because Kawok has this power. She wants to bring healing. She wants for things to be reborn into the world. But in order to do so, sometimes, again, we've got to go through this pain, or we've got to go through the challenges. We've got to go through the storm in order to get there. Kawok provides the aftercare once the surgery has been done. I often see Kawok as a highly compassionate day. It's a day of strength, of leadership, but also with compassion for the newly born. And so if we bring this in, it is kind of like seeing this duality of understanding, kind of like sometimes after the healing, we're going to change the dressing, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off, 1, 2, 3, off it comes, And that's like, this is going to sting, but it's going to be right for you. And so again, we see a day of healing and choosing between dualities in order to bring the new in. From 2 Kawok, we then go into 3 Ajpu. So Ajpu, the Nawal of the divine. Ajpu, the Nawal of the sun. Ajpu can also be seen as, again, what is our highest purpose? Ajpu, our connection to the divine. What's our divine purpose? What is that hero that we carry inside of us? What are they here to do? Now, as such, when we think about it like that, we can also kind of understand, right, okay, what is the 3 asking us to do? It's asking us to go within. I often see 3 days, they're highly creative days, but that creative potential is within us. And sometimes expressing the creative potential around us doesn't always kind of work out the way we hoped it would. And especially with Ajpu seeing the divine purpose in the world, again, seeing it's very relevant in this Trecena of Tijax, and it's like, right, okay, well, what's the divine purpose within you? It's asking you to go within, it's asking you to look inside to understand what divine purpose you have. What is your inner hero? Who is your inner hero? What have you been put here to do? Now, sometimes, if we're busy surrounding ourselves with external distractions, we can't feel that, we can't hear that, we can't pay attention in the way that we could. And so the day 3 Ajpu, for me, what I see it as, is a very, very good time to be going within, to understand what's going on inside, to understand what the inner hero that we're holding needs. Now, the hero, as they go through their quest, of course, they've also going to go through quite a lot of challenges in order to prove themselves. And as such, in those challenges, it's like we've got to draw on the strength of that hero within. Now, again, if we're being surrounded by distractions, might make it difficult to tap into the wisdom of the hero within that knows how to overcome those challenges. It might be difficult to tap into the strength of the hero within, to tap into those challenges. So perhaps the 3 Ajpu day is a good day to spend in a kind of seclusion, in a kind of like in a kind of retreat, to understand really how the hero within you can overcome the challenges to bring out the best within that Tijax Trecena. From 3 Ajpu, we then move into 4 Imox. So Imox, the Nawal of the lake. Imox, the Nawal of the dreams. Imox, the Nawal of our connection to the collective. And here we see it connected with the number 4, representing the physical, representing physical reality. The number 4, very much concerned with what's going on in the material. And for me, in some ways, we could see 4 Imox as the one who brings the dreams into the physical reality. So again, kind of like if we think about it with the context of the Trecena of Tijax, it's like, okay, what do we need to cut away in order to bring our dreams into a physical reality? Because that's something that the Nawal, the energy of the day for Imox, might have us focusing on. It's like, we may have been dreaming for some time. We've got all these dreams about maybe the way that we would like to be or the way that we would like the world to be. How are we actually going to ground them into the physical? How are we going to make that difference? 4 Imox might bring forwards the understanding of how to do that, particularly if you have the opportunity to spend some time near water. From 4 Imox, we then move into 5 Aq'ab'al. Aq'ab'al, the Nawal of the wind. Now, Aq'ab'al can also be a very cleansing day. We can think about the wind blowing away the dust and the debris and showing us, sometimes, we think about something that's old and dusty and, we're blowing the dust off it like the wind would to bring out, oh, look what was hidden beneath this layer of dust. Look what the wind cleansed and showed us, the beauty that was hidden within it. But we can also see that the energy is with regards to communication as well. And here we see it with the number 5 representing the work, and so it's working on our communication. And, sometimes I also like to think of that 5, sometimes it's hard work, right? Sometimes it's kind of like, it's not quite the way that we would hope it might be. We kind of want it to, be straightforward or easy or whatever it might be. And it's not. And sometimes we need to work on our communication. We need to work on the way we express ourselves, the way that we use our words. 5 Aq'ab'al may bring that into focus. It may bring up conversations where we feel, crikey, that's a lot of effort that I have to put into expressing myself or my ideas out into the world. But again, it's this polishing, it's this refinement in the Trecena of Tijax. It's like, of course, we've got to work on our communication skills. How are we going to get our interpretation over? How are we going to get our ideas out to people if we don't work on the way that we express them? From 5 Aq'ab'al, we then move into 6 Aq'ab'al. So 6 Aq'ab'al, for many people, will be the day of the solstice. So here in the northern hemisphere, it's going to be the shortest day of the year, what we would call the winter solstice. Obviously, in the other hemisphere, it will be summer solstice. It will be the longest day of the year south of the equator. But we're here in the north of the equator, to the north of the equator. And this day of solstice, the day of what is seen as the return of the light. It's the day when finally the days are going to start getting longer again. And this is falling on 6 Aq'ab'al. Aq'ab'al being that in-between worlds day, that in-between times day, that transition between the day and the night, or the night and the day, where it's either going to start getting lighter or it's going to start getting darker. It's the twilight world, and here, what a wonderful day to celebrate the solstice on, 6 Aq'ab'al. Aq'ab'al can also represent the new concepts that we're bringing in, and here, with the number 6, I could see that as being the stability of the physical plane, but then embellished by the heart of the sky and the heart of the earth coming into it. And so when we see it like this, we can understand that this is a day to draw on heaven and earth in order to stabilize our new concepts into the world. And this day of what could be seen as the rebirth of the sun, as the days start to get lighter again, in the northern hemisphere anyway, what a day to stabilize our new concepts into the world. From 6 Aq'ab'al, we then move into 7 Kat. So Kat, the Nawal of the net. Kat, the Nawal of bundling, of bringing in whatever it is that we might need for our journey, and of releasing anything that we don't need. And here, with the number 7 representing the top of the pyramid, the number 7 representing our choices, and very much representing like a finality. And so when we see that finality, it's like, right, okay, we're finally sorting out what it is that we want to keep and what it is that we want to let go of. Okay? So it's a great day for a sorting out. It's a great day for releasing what is no longer needed in the net. You know, we're talking about these 13 days of surgery. We're talking about 13 days of purification. And perhaps over those first 6 days, you've identified maybe what it is that's ailing you. Maybe what it is that's holding you back from attaining your perfection, from attaining your highest purpose. 7 Cat gives you the opportunity to let it go. Finally let it go. Like once and for all, choosing this or choosing that, and choosing what it is that you want to hold in your net going forwards. After this rebirth of the Sunday, as it were, going into it and saying, right, okay, what am I going to carry in my net as I move forwards into this next solar cycle, into this next birth of the sun, for this next 365 days or so. So, of course, any day is a great day for a sort out. Any cat day is a great day for a sort out. But with 7 Cat, it may well be that there's a certain finality about it. It's like, hey, look, I've been dragging this burden around for long enough. It's finally time to let it go. So this is a wonderful exercise to be working through on that cat day. What has been cut by Tijax is released by Cat, so that you can make space in your net for whatever it is that you do need to come in the next cycle. From 7 Cat, we then move into 8 Can, Washakib Can, a day of ceremony, a day of thanksgiving. Thanksgiving for the wisdom that comes into our lives, thanksgiving for the teachers in our lives. It's a day of thanks for that life force energy that moves through each and every one of us. The wisdom and the purpose. The purpose being the energy that we put into things. So, 8 Can is a great day to make a ceremony to celebrate your teachers. A great day to make a ceremony to celebrate those who share their wisdom. A great day to make ceremony to give thanks for all those who empower us. It's also a good day to make ceremony to give thanks for those who help us to see through illusions, because for me, that's what the expression of that wisdom is. It helps us to see through to the truth. Much like Tijax, who's cutting through to the truth. Here we are. What do we use? What's our razor of discernment coming from? Sometimes it's the wisdom that has been shared with us by others. That's the razor of discernment that we need to operate to help us to cut through to the truth. From 8 Can, we then move into 9 Kame. So we have 9 Kame, a very, very interesting combination, of course, because we have Kame representing death and 9 representing life. And so what a beautiful way to bring them together. The complete cycle, death and rebirth. And of course, Kame can represent facing our fears. Kame can represent the transformations that we go through. And the number 9 can represent life. And so it's facing our life fears, maybe one way that we might be looking at it. And this may bring up some big stuff. As I said, the Trecena of Tijax is, kind of like one that's going to bring things up that need clearing. And sometimes we've got those things that we've been fearing. We've been fearing the day when we might face it. 9 Kame may well bring those things up, ready to be transformed. But, of course, what do we also know? we also know that we have our ancestors walking with us. That on Kame days, these are days to ask the ancestors to help us to go through those fears, to help us to transform. And so for me, what I would see with the 9 Kame, it's a transformation that brings life. It's a transformation through the feminine. It's a transformation, of course, that is going to help us to move further towards that pure life essence that Tijax was highlighting. From 9 Kame, we're then moving into 10 Kech. So Kech, the Nawal of the wilderness, the Nawal of the mountain place, the Nawal of the tree place. And here with the number 10, representing community, representing society, representing coming together. Now Kech, I also see representing spiritual leadership. And here, when we see those two things together, it's spiritual leadership within the community. It's finding our strength in community and helping to tap into nature in order to bring that leadership. Now, again, for many people that are further north than I am, it might not be the nicest time of year to go out into nature. But sometimes, hopefully maybe after you've been feasting over the midwinter festivals season, however we'd like to refer to it now and that kind of thing, it's time to go out for a walk in the country. It's time to go out and connect with the trees, with the mountains. Go and see what's going on in nature. Because that's where Kech brings us strength. That's where Kech brings us the understanding of the natural world. And it's something that we can then use to share with our community. It's a way of coming together, a way of helping each other, of cooperating. And again, kind of like if we were looking at it from the point of view of the Tijax Trecena, it's like, how can I bring the highest purpose out of the connection with nature in order to help my community? From 10 Kech, we then move into 11 Anil. So Anil, the Nawal of ripening, the Nawal of brightening, a joyful Nawal. It's a Nawal that is about the ripening of the corn, the yellowing of the corn, and us being, made from corn, as it were. It's about our ripening as well. Now we see it with the number 11. For me, this number that takes us in many different places, many different options, again bringing creativity from following different paths that we might not have expected to follow, logically, let's say. And so when we look at it like that, we can also see that 11 Anil might ask us to look in places that we don't really expect to find our ripeness, or kind of like deriving joy from different avenues, maybe ones that we haven't tried before. There is an exploratory nature about the 11. There is an impulsive nature about the 11. There is a way of bringing things together that we didn't expect to come together that comes from the 11. And those things may be the things that help us to ripen. It's kind of like looking, finding our ripening in unexpected places may well be something that comes up very strongly on the 11 Anil day. From 11 Anil, we then move into 12 Toch. So Toch, again, the Nawal of offering, the Nawal of payment, the Nawal of service. Toch days, great days to make your offerings, great days to make a donation if you wish, and as usual, at the bottom of the screen right now you've got some ideas of worthy projects for your donations. Here, with the number 12, for me, the bundling together of all of our experiences, all of our life experience. Now, Toch is also about how we serve. And 12 Toch might be the bundling together of our life experience in order to serve. How can we best be of service to our community, our society, our friends, our family, whoever it might be? Well, sometimes there's experience that we carry that other people around us don't carry. Sometimes it's tapping in to that experience from years ago, from old projects, old plans, old ideas. That's what we need to bring in now. How can we use our life experience to serve? We can also see 12 Toch as being a day on which we can make an offering for everything that we've learned in life, for everything that we've been working with in life. Now, Toch sometimes talks about debts, and when we're carrying debts, of course, these are things which could be seen as burdens. They can also be seen as things that we are carrying around that are holding us back from being who we can be. And so with 12 Toch, it might be also paying off the debts that we might have incurred throughout our life experiences. This, of course, is part of the purification process. And then finally, we move into 13 Tz'i. So Tz'i, the Nawal of faith and loyalty. Tz'i, the Nawal, yes, of vices. Tz'i can also be seen as a Nawal of temptation. And here, combined with the number 13, the number of spirit, the number of the ancestors. And so, what a wonderful day to be asking the ancestors to help you, to guide you out of your temptations of past vices that might have come up. Sometimes I see Tz'i days as testing days where, you know, our vices come and show themselves right in front of us and say, hey, you remember me? How are we feeling about that now? It's the end of this cycle of purification. But what I really would like to see with the 13 Tz'i, the 13 spirit, Tz'i, trust, loyalty, faith. Have faith in spirit, have faith in the ancestors, your loyalty to spirit. And of course, the unconditional love of the ancestors that helps us to overcome those things. So, I hope that this has been useful to you. I hope that your purification phase goes smoothly. I wish you a very happy solstice, and I look forward to seeing you again in 13 days' time for the Trecena of Bats. Thank you.